So what is the secret to getting what you really want out of life? I mean, actually getting it, making progress, achieving your goals, doing what you said you would. And I'm going to reveal the secret in just 4 steps for you today. And it's not what you think it is. It isn't to do with affirmations. It isn't to do with a business model. It's got nothing to do with cold showers, even though I think they're awesome. But it's the simple stuff that moves the needle daily. And if you watch to the end of this video, you'll find out the 4 things that I did to take me away from being in 30 grand's worth of debt, having a 10-year drinking problem, absolutely giving up on love, and burying and ruining every relationship with everyone I had on the planet, including myself, which led me to burning every relationship I had, including the one with myself. But how I went from that dark place in my life to running a multi-6-figure business, finding love, my life partner who I'm now married to, clearing my debt, and being financially, mentally, emotionally, and physically free from the shackles and quote unquote matrix that you hear about all the time. And it really does come down to just 4 things. Number 1 is what I like to call swallowing the tough pill. Number 2 is to actually stop. Number 2 is to stop chasing goals. I know, right? Crazy. And the 2 most important ones is focus and leverage. So 9 years ago, I turned 30 and I wasn't in the position I wanted to be in. I had a failed relationship. I was broke. I was in a job that I wasn't quite enjoying. And I pretty much just given up on everything in life. And I got to this point where I was just pointing the finger at everyone and everything for my problems. And someone said to me one day, Russ, when you point the finger, these 3 are pointing back at you. And it was one of the toughest pills I had to swallow. And I started doing research on this and started taking ownership and came to the realization that I was the common denominator, and you are the common denominator for all of your problems, but also all of your solutions. As the great Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can do something or you can't do something, you are always 100% right. And it was a tough pill to swallow, and it took me a while to get over this, but I realized how powerful I am. And you need to realize how powerful you are as well. You don't have any disadvantages unless it's this disadvantage up here, is your mental disadvantage of the story that you tell yourself, of the story that you buy into, the belief systems that you currently have, and the paradigms and identity that you're attached to, which creates and shifts and shapes the lens that you view certain situations through. And there are kind of 3 to 4 levels of this. And there are 3 to 4 kind of mental mind shifts that we have to go through. And in the beginning, I was in this life happens to me phase. And you may be in this now. You think that all the bad things in life are happening to you. And you always, and even though you think the bad stuff is happening to you, you're also waiting for the good stuff to happen to you as well. Like buying a lottery ticket, gambling, a windfall, a relative dying, whatever it may be, right? And when we are in this kind of life happens to us phase, we're in this very low vibration and frequency where we're just expecting everything to happen to us, the good stuff and the bad. And we keep blaming and complaining over and over again and pointing that finger. And as I said before, when we point this finger, these 3 are pointing back at us. So that is the first step, is taking complete ownership and realizing that you are where you are because that's where you're meant to be. And you have all the tools you could possibly need to stay the same. You are living your preferred reality. And if you don't want to live your preferred reality anymore, whether you feel like you prefer it or not, you've got to stop feeding it. For something to change, something has to change. And what we don't choose to change, we choose to stay the same. And it's this constant cycle. And we keep feeding the life. And we end up blaming it on self-sabotage. I'm a self-sabotager. But all that really is just a way of you coping with the fear of you trying something new. Because if you try something new, if you make a change, if you direct the course of your life in a slightly different direction, there could be a potential of you failing, of it not going right. So that you distract yourself or you stay the same and keep making the same decisions that bring the past back into the present, because you can then predict the outcome. And if you can predict the outcome, it makes you feel safe. But what makes you feel safe over time ultimately leads to unhappiness. And this is where I was for like 10 years of my life, using alcohol to cope with stress, using alcohol to cope with my anxiety, blaming the world for my shortcomings, but sitting there every day, actually sick of my own BS, because I had this potential that I wanted to live up to. I had this version of myself in the future that had the wife, that had the children, that had the money, that had the business, that had the body, that had the mindset, the presence, but I just wasn't doing it. I knew exactly what I needed to do, and you know exactly what you need to do as well, but you're not doing it. Knowing is great, right? But doing is even better. So the first stage is to realize that you are where you are because that's where you're meant to be, and you have all the tools you could possibly need. And if you want to have access to the high levels of growth in life, whether it's health, wealth, money, relationships, happiness, you need to get access to new tools, whether it's through books, courses, videos like this, podcasts, or hiring a mentor or a coach, or being a part of a peer group. Because if we gain access to new tools and we use these tools, we can start to create a different outlook and a different reality in our life. As I've said time and time again on this video, we are no different from anyone else. We have no disadvantages. We are no less privileged. And holding on to that mindset of it's okay for someone else, it's different for me, they don't understand. I totally get it, but it doesn't serve you. All it does is it disempowers you. Having that kind of mindset leads to you seeing options or no options, which help you make decisions or no decisions to change the course of your life. And if you keep perceiving it in the same way over and over again, you're going to keep getting the same result. And you're just going to blame it on luck, the world, the government, whatever it may be. But realize there are people out there that have less tools than you, less support, more perceived struggles that are just doing it anyway. And I get it. You're saying, I know this, but I just can't get out of this hole. So this is what the other 3 steps are going to help you with, and helped me go from where I was in the hole to climbing out. And sometimes in life, you need someone to pass you the rope down and help you out, or to jump in there with you so you can climb out together. And hopefully this video helps you climb out of that hole at least half the way so that we can make some progress. So number 2 is to stop chasing goals. So I'm actually going to share my iPad with you now and tell you why the old model, the current model you use to set goals and chase them, is broken, and why you keep spinning your wheels, stop starting, giving up, or changing the course and not making the progress you want year on by year. So as kids, we're taught to set goals, right? And you may be setting goals right now, but you're not quite achieving them. And this is the old model, and I'm going to tell you why it's broken. So we usually taught to have these 3 columns, okay? And in this column on the side is our wants, okay? What do we want in life? I want you to really think hard about this, right? What do we want in life? We set ourselves a goal for money. We set ourselves a goal for health. We set ourselves a goal for love. We set ourselves a goal for happiness. We want things, right? We want outcomes. We want to see progress. So when we've got this list of all these wants, we then start to build a list of to-dos. These are the things that we need to do. So for example, let's just talk about a body. So let's just say in the next 6 months, you want to lose 20 kgs. You want to lose 20 kgs in the next 6 months. And you find out what you need to do to get there. You need to exercise 3 times a week. You need to eat healthy 80% of the time. You need to stick to a calorie goal. You need to get in X amount of steps per day. You need to drink X amount of water per day. You need to stretch, and so on. And the list carries on. But what happens between day 1 and up to month 6 is there's this gap where we experience challenge. And challenges aren't in your way. Challenges are on their way. There is always going to be something. But when you're challenged by an intrinsic or extrinsic thing, like it could be your boss, it could be a relationship, it could be money, whatever it may be, when we are challenged, we never rise to our highest expectations. We fall to our lowest level of training. And this is how we cope with things. You're either a reactive person to challenge, or you're a responsive person to challenge. And the responsive person to challenge, in my opinion, always gets shit done because they redirect the course and keep moving forward and doing the work. But if you're responsive to challenge, which is usually subconscious, then the way that I used to deal with challenge is that I would quit. I would doom scroll. I would drink alcohol. I would spend time away. I would hide. I would veer off the course and the process towards my inspiring and compelling future. And if we keep doing this with challenge, our results are going to do this. We're going to lose a few pounds, then we're going to gain a few pounds. We're going to lose a few pounds, then we're going to gain a few pounds. And then when it comes to that 6-month goal of having this body, you set out to lose 20 kgs, but you actually only lose 12. And because you set that expectation for yourself and you haven't actually met that expectation, it causes frustration. It causes anger. It causes you to tear apart the contract that you signed for yourself. And you may have given it 100% of your effort, but if you go again for the next 6 months, you're only going to give it 70%, and it's going to go down and down and down. So what's going to end up happening is you're either going to quit, and instead of wanting to lose 20 kgs, this is what I used to say, I'm just going to make my arms and legs bigger so my belly looks smaller, or you're going to pivot and change the goal. And if you do this constantly, you're just demoralizing yourself, and you're just literally letting yourself down, and you're breaking that bond with yourself that increases self-love, self-compassion, self-mastery, so that you can build that self-confidence. There's no wonder that you're not confident, and I wasn't confident for so many years. It's because I was breaking the promises to myself every single day. I wasn't able to deal with challenge. I wasn't able to deal with the curveballs that were coming my way. There's always going to be something. But where your focus goes, your energy flows and the results show. Which leads us on to the next point, but let me finish this one, which is around controlling your focus. So instead of having this list of to-dos and these wants and setting goals, we want to move away from chasing these goals to chasing the person that has this with ease. And this is where visualization comes into play. And this reminds me of a story when I was a personal trainer way back in 2007. And I was in good shape back then. I had a six-pack, pretty much a six-pack on my face. And there was a lad in there that was in his mid-20s. He was what we like to call skinny fat. He was a bit doughy. And he said to me, look, I see you on the gym all the time. You know, I can't afford a personal trainer, but I was wondering if you could just write me out a plan to get a six-pack like you. I said, I can do you one better. Instead of me writing out a plan, instead of charging you for it, let's just take care of it right now. And I said to him, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to cast yourself into the future 12 months from now. And you're absolutely rich, you're absolutely jacked, and you've got a six-pack. I was like, just talk me through your daily routine. Talk me through your thought process. Talk to me about what you do in the mornings. What time do you get up? He said, I get up at 5 a.m. What are you doing then? I'm doing some fasted cardio. What does your diet look like? How much water you're drinking? Are you taking supplements? How many times are you working out? And he told me the story. And then when he told me the story, I replied to him and I said, when could you possibly start doing that just by 1% tomorrow? And if he just gets 1% better each day and leans into the person that has that body with ease, then he will get it and he will keep it for life. Rather than his highs and lows with our health, wealth, relationships, and happiness that we see time and time again, and we experience time and time again, as I did for over 10 years. Never making any consistent progress with my health, never making any consistent progress with my wealth, never making any consistent progress with my relationships. So instead of having this to-do list here, we want to have the I am list. So whatever the goal or goals are that you want in the future, if it's more money, if it's more love, it's to grow a business, if it's to heal a relationship, I want you to write down a list of all the traits and characteristics of the person that you are in the future that have that with ease. And by doing this, we're going to create consistency. By doing this, we're not going to put our goals into the horizon. By doing this, we're not going to delay our happiness and our success, because we can become this person instantly. With every breath you take is a chance to start again and create a new reality for you, to create a new identity for you, to create a new personality for you, which will in tune create your new reality. And we can do it just by 1%, 1%. We want to go from 0 to 1, not 0 to 100, and massage yourself through the process. We want to iterate. We want to check the data. We want to work on just going slow and steady, because slow and steady is simple, and simple scales to all levels of growth in all areas of your life. So I want you to now write a list of down, and this is what I did. I wrote list. I am loving. I am successful. I am wealthy. I am healthy. And I removed this list here, as you can see, to the things and the actions that that loving person does every day. And it was just one thing at a time. I only want to achieve this future state of me by 1%, just by 1%. That is it. You just need to do this by 1%. And by doing that by 1%, if you can get 1% better every single day, and by setting that bar low and slowly raising it, you're going to have more consistency, you're going to build more momentum. 100 days from now, you will be 100% better. Therefore, you are two-folded your identity and who you are. So you will become the 2.0 version of yourself. You will literally create, manifest a new version of you. You'll walk different, you'll talk different, you'll act different, you'll perceive reality and information in a different way. You'll look at problems in a different way. You'll look at solutions in a different way. You will be more responsive to life rather than reactive. It's such a beautiful thing. And this is why the old model is broken. Setting a goal for the future, a task and list of things to do. Because once we achieve it, or if we don't, we're just going to defeat ourselves. So we want to step into the person. Chase the person you need to become that has the relationship that you desire. Chase the person you need to become to earn the income that you desire. Chase the person you need to become to have the body that you desire. So that we're not just listing all these things that we think are going to make us successful, happy, and wealthy. We step into it and become it now. And simply for me, and this could be the same for you, when it started with loving, it was just to send a text a day. I just text my mum daily and say, I love you. I text a friend and check in and say, I've got you. To be successful, I just need to hit the 1% rule and show up and move the needle in one area. Not by me, creating 10 YouTube videos in one day and editing them, getting out 30 posts of content on social media, running 100 miles in one day, just doing one thing per day, just creating a video. I can edit it tomorrow. If I edit it tomorrow, I can post it the next day. Just doing things in slow steps to compound and build that muscle and get in the reps, because that's going to give you staying power. To be wealthy, I just needed to show up in my business. I needed to make an offer every day. Not make 100 offers every day, not send 20 connection messages every day inside of my business, if you can understand where I'm coming from when it comes to business. It was just to show up and get out an offer a day. And then that compounded into 2 and 3 and 4. And it's led me to where I'm now. And you can do exactly the same. With the healthy, I just created the 80-20 rule, Pareto's law. 80% of the time, stick to my nutrition. 20% of the time, I can have a break. And if I show up and be healthy every day, it just looked like hitting a water target to start with. Then I added in steps. Then I added in workouts. And it just compounded over time. So this is why the old model is broken, and how you can actually do it yourself by stepping in and chasing the future you. Next, we want to be looking at focus. As I said before, where your focus goes, energy flows and the results show. So the biggest kryptonite for me when it comes to changing my life, getting a handle on my reality, getting a handle on my habits, was booze. And you may have a habit right now. It could be smoking, it could be snoozing the alarm, it could be anything, but it's becoming a lag indicator in life. It's slowing down your progress. And by you doing that same thing over and over again, you are making a decision, whether it's conscious or subconscious, to bring the past back into the present. And we have to switch our focus so that we can switch our decisions and then switch our actions to change the course of our life, so that that decision then takes us one step closer to our inspiring, compelling future, rather than bringing the past back into the present. So how I did this was I made a list. And I made a list of the payoffs and the drawbacks of alcohol. And you can do this too. So wherever it may be, smoking, drinking, complaining, whatever it is, this lag indicator. Because the way with the focus is let's just say I take you to a nudist beach and I say to you, don't look at people's bits. You're going to look at people's bits, right? It's going to be extremely hard not to. If I say don't look at people's bits, you're just going to be looking through your eyes, right? So you've either got a choice, look at people's bits or don't look at people's bits. It's easier to look at people's bits than not looking at people's bits. But if I say to you, look over there, there's a dolphin riding a unicorn, you're going to look at that. So it's easier to look at something else rather than just not looking at the thing that you want to look at. And it's the same with these habits that become our lag indicators, these vices that are crippling us. So what I had to do was I had to write down a list of all the benefits of drinking alcohol. And the main benefits of drinking alcohol for me was it helped me sleep, it chilled me out, and it helped me be sociable. Then I wrote down a list of all the negatives and the drawbacks and the consequences of alcohol. And the list was over 50 things, trust me. It literally was just like mental health, like physical health, emotional health, everything on the down. My relationships, it literally just led to this life of me just being in my 60s where I'm just like in a one bed apartment in a sales job because that's what I'm good at, right? If I ever, lost myself and went back to the old me, I wouldn't run a business. I'd just go back into sales, which I don't want to do. I'd be an alcoholic. I'd have no relationships and just living a life of regret. Okay. And this was what I had to do. I had to visualize it and play it forward and really just see it on paper of that these negatives and these drawbacks and these consequences massively outweigh the positives and the benefits of drinking alcohol. But that still isn't enough. It still wasn't enough for me. It still may not be enough for you. So we've got to switch the focus. We've got to not remove that vice or habit from your life. We've got to replace it with something else that gives you the same or similar benefit from it. And just do it by 1% every day. So for me with alcohol, it helped me sleep. So I had to think, right, it chills me out. How else can I chill out? How else can I get that same benefit? By doing something else, by switching my focus. And that one thing was meditation. And you're probably going to say, right, oh God, everyone talks about meditation, but it did. I did breath work, I did meditation, guided, self-guided. And so instead of drinking alcohol, I meditated. Instead of drinking alcohol, I went for a run. Instead of drinking alcohol, I went to the gym. Instead of drinking alcohol, I was present with my wife. I had to distract myself and change my focus. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it was grueling at times. Yes, the temptations were there. But then I had to then leverage things to move into the next step, which is step 4, which is leverage. Because there are going to be times when your focus just cannot be redirected. And this was the most powerful one for me. Without building leverage and creating leverage in my life, I wouldn't be able to show up as the I am every day. I wouldn't be able to chase the person that has the life I want with ease. Going from broke, an alcoholic, unhappy, self-destructive, to being married. I'm expecting my first child this year, to having a multi-six-figure business and having the relationships of my dreams. I wouldn't be able to do it without creating leverage. And with enough leverage, you can move any object, even yourself, out of your own way. And this goes into the playing it forward. So I made this list of the habits that were destroying my life, and you make a list of the habits that are destroying your life. And one of them for me was alcohol, right? Alcohol was literally the thorn in my side. It was ruining everything when it came to my life. And in order to do it, I had to play it forward. And I played it forward, as I said before, to me being 65 years old in a one-bed apartment, in a sales job still, with no relationships, regretting my life. I know for a fact that if I went back to my old habits, my wife would leave me. I'd be in I'd be a single parent, basically, seeing my child every now and then. I'd be an absolute idiot getting drunk all the time, trying to press everyone else by living through their values. And people thinking that I'm okay, but when I really feel crap inside. And the pain of not achieving, the pain of having that life is far greater than the pain of just saying no to booze. And it doesn't happen overnight. You have to keep doing it over and over again and getting in the reps so it compounds. I have a future that I see in the next 20 years. And I visualize that future every single day. Of my little girl who's going to be 20 years old in the future, of us living our life in Greece where we plan to move, of having a business, of having financial wealth. And then I've got the other version of me, the version of me that leans on the booze, that leans on the excuses, that doesn't show up every day. And that is the 1.0 version of me. And I'm the 2.0 version now. I'm working on the 3.0. And just by using those techniques, swallowing the tough pill, realizing you are the common denominator for all your problems, but also all your solutions. And whether you think you can or can't achieve something, you are always 100% right. Stop chasing your goals. Chase the person who has your goals with ease. With every breath you take, you can start again. Wake up tomorrow and write down on a piece of paper, I am loving, I am creative, I am happy, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am compassionate. And just write down one small micro action you can do that day to show up as that person. And then guess what? You are. Even if it's just by 1%. Demand 1% more of yourself every single day, and in 100 days time, you'll be 100% better. You would have two-folded yourself into the 2.0 version, and just watch everything in your life 10x. And then work on your focus, your ability to deal with challenge. When we're challenged, we don't rise to our highest expectations. We fall to our lowest level of training. How do you cope when you're challenged? How do you cope when you're stressed? Do you stay on the path or do you verge off? So work on that focus. Think about the biggest vices that you have, whether it's procrastination, putting things off, snoozing the alarm, binge eating in the evenings, or alcohol, and write a list down of the benefits and then the drawbacks, and find ways to get similar benefits from activities that you can do instead that move you one more step closer to that inspiring future. And then lastly, create leverage. Play your life forward to the best possible outcome and the worst, because the pain of achieving that worst outcome should be far greater than the pain of just doing the work. And when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, you'll take the first step.